Hey, my name is William Lawson. Today I am interviewing
Brown.
All right, so Brian, so you a recent BSU alumni graduate of fall 2024, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you a mass media major. Tell me, so when you took the mass media major, tell me like what the pros and cons.
Well, that's a complex question, but you know, everything in life has its pros and cons. But as far as pertaining to the mass media program, the pros is that you're gonna have a lot of self-discovery. You're gonna have a lot of moments where you shock yourself and you break through. Certain things that you didn't know that you could do, right? And that's just the surface level of the program. Other things that I would say is that you learn a lot of valuable skills that are applicable in the real world. As far as like working with teams and just co-op and taking pictures and learning how to really just be involved with like the community and having all these different projects. But I would say with the cons, the only con I would say is that there's certain things maybe per se that I feel like could have been touched on or hit home a little bit more. I don't feel like we really got with the TriCast in the room enough. Like I feel like we could have spent more time back there, or maybe more class periods doing like After Effects or something like that. It was a lot of just self-dependency. Of like what can you do to better yourself, and that's the duality between the two, right? They go hand in hand. So like, yeah, you can look at it as a con, but they want you to look at it as a positive thing of you being self-reliant and discovering that you are capable of your own development and improvement.
So, do you regret going to Valdosta State?
No, I don't regret any of my decisions that I made in my life, because at the end of the day, I feel like every decision that you make propels you and molds you into the man that you're supposed to be. So I feel like God wouldn't have brought me to it if He wasn't going to bring me through it.
Okay, I like that response. So like, let's say, what advice do you have for like upcoming freshmen who trying to enter the mass media program?
Watch a lot of YouTube videos. Look at a lot of people who already are established in the industry on YouTube, and just do a lot more research outside of class. Be involved. Don't be so caught up as I was with like working and trying to have a job and go to school at the same time. It's kind of hard to do that when everybody's situation is different. But I would say that if you're a freshman and you decide that you want to go to university, then go to university and go to college all the way. And what I mean by that is because employers, when they look at you, they're gonna look at the different type of groups and the programs that you was in, the things that you did. Was you a part of any festivals, stuff like that. They're gonna look at all the stuff that you was involved in, and if you can only say that I got a degree, well, you're not standing out. So, and I remember that's what a couple of our professors stressed to us in our last semester. Everybody has a degree, and everybody that we're graduating with has the same degree. So what can we do to help us stand out in the recruitment of being employed by different people? What can we do to isolate ourselves from the rest?
So, with that being said, so when you went here, so your time at Valdosta State, what do you feel like you did to isolate yourself from the rest? Like, what do you feel like you did to like stand out? Like,
Me personally, I didn't do enough of that, right? So that's why, going back to your first question of my advice, I'm giving that advice because I feel like if I would have did that, it would have helped me a little bit more. So I didn't do that enough. So that's why I'm giving that advice to the freshmen because I didn't do that myself. So, I'm not gonna, I would be a hypocrite if I was to say otherwise.
okay. So, throughout all the stuff you done learned in the program in mass media, which one thing you feel like you could have been better at?
Um, photography.
Photography. So,
Photography.
why you say photography?
Specifically because I still don't necessarily. I know the basics, I know the gist of everything, but I don't necessarily. I wouldn't know how to like set up an environment for a person. Like, say if I was my own business and somebody wanted me to take graduation pictures, I would have no idea how to set up something on the spot, so they can have the right lighting and everything. That's something that's going to come with time, and hopefully, eventually, I'll do something of that nature, and I'll learn how to do that on my own terms. But as far as right now, that's something that I don't have.
Okay, fair enough. So where your skills at in like Premiere Pro? Do you feel like you efficient enough to do that? If a person call you right now to do like a video for like a company, music video, it don't matter. Do you feel like you do it?
As far as editing is concerned, yes. I feel like I'm flawless in editing, but like I said, I mean, some people could disagree with me, but I just feel like when it comes to like music videos, it's a difference from applying effects on CapCut and actually creating the effects. So anybody can put butterflies transitioning in each video, but a person actually putting a baseball on fire and the baseball is in their hand, that's After Effects, and that's what people are looking for when it comes to like music videos. And I wouldn't even know where to start with something like that.
So what do you see yourself doing with this major? What do you see yourself like 5 years from now?
I see myself potentially writing scripts for like different companies, and I would like to go further my education at Kennesaw State University and get a master's potentially in integrated global communications. Hopefully, I mean, when I was looking at the requirements, they said all I needed was a 2.8. So. And then they said took it a step further and actually gave me the typical salaries that they start off with, and I would say the lowest job that I seen with that degree started off at like $60 an hour. I saw other jobs with that master's program at Kennesaw State. It went all the way up to $80 to $100 an hour. So where the money resides, pretty much.
I respect. So, so you said, what's the name of that degree and your master's degree? What you say you trying to get it? What name of that?
Global Communications at Kennesaw State.
So, what global communications? Can you give me like an overview of what that about?
Overall, it's taking a deeper dive into communications, and it's literally in the word, and you would be doing a lot more of connecting with different companies on a global aspect, and it would be more corporate level of the entertainment industry, and that's where I feel like my mass media degree could go hand in hand with that degree, because I could use that to help me communicate to different media corporations, like maybe TVN. To give you some examples, maybe TVN, CNN, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe I could be like a manager of those, places. And, obviously I would like to, that has nothing to do with film, and, but I'm thinking that maybe I could use that as my leverage, right? Maybe I could use that as a way to network with big people in the industry in itself. And as I'm connecting and networking, I could use my scripts that I wrote over a period of time, and I could pitch it to, the people of these companies. And maybe that way I can get my foot in the door like that.
Mm-hmm. So, let back it up a little bit. I have a question, since I'm still going Valdosta, and for other people, who still go here and who do mass media. So, from your previous experiences, like, what was your hardest class in this major? Because personally, mine was media criticism.
My hardest class within the program had to be between media criticism and transmedia storytelling.
So I know what was hard about media criticism, because like I took the class twice, and you were actually in my class when we took it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So like so I already know about that. So what was so difficult about transmedia storytelling?
What was difficult about transmedia storytelling is that, going back to the beginning of the conversation, when I brought up the ability that we had to tap into, whether we had it or not, to work with our teams, stuff like that, that even though you had to develop it, it's not an easy skill to develop. That is extremely difficult, because when you're working with people, you're depending on people, and you're depending on people to trust you, right? And sometimes, people that are in groups, they don't necessarily, they don't have to have a reason to give you a zero, right? They can literally, say, oh, this person didn't do this, or this person didn't do that, or sometimes they could take it upon themselves to do the whole entire project. So it's just, what made that difficult, that class, was while we were in those groups, it was difficult to communicate to people, because, a lot of people were, antisocial and didn't really feel comfortable with talking anyway, you know what I'm saying? So that part, just the communication part with teammates, to get the work and the projects done on time, that was difficult.
So I had the same problem, and I feel like one thing about this major which people struggle with, and I'm not going to completely put on the professor, I just feel like some professors, they have us work in groups, and I feel like that should be our option. Some professors, like, it's mandatory you work in a group, but with this major, I know it can be very tedious when it comes to certain things. So I feel like, me personally, I like working by myself or somebody I actually know. I don't think it good some people just like partner us up with, like, random people we don't know for real, because like you gotta have communication with this major, and it's just a lot of things. And if y'all don't be aboard on the same thing, then it's gonna be very, very hard to work with, like, different people. So I feel like that one thing I would like for something this major, I would like for that issue to get better. And it's not really that spoken of, but yeah, I feel like this major should,
in my opinion, I feel like, as a professor, you should be able to structure your class however you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's not necessarily a bad thing per se, but I think what makes it a bad thing, right, is that, like I said, if somebody says that, hey, this person didn't do enough work, and, I give this person a zero, for my peer review of my teammate, it should be required of me to provide evidence or proof that he didn't do work,
right,
other than just my word and what I put on the paper. I should be able to show, like, the work that he didn't do. But if he did work and I still get, or that person still gets a bad grade for it, that becomes unfair to a degree.
Yeah. But yeah, though, thank you so much for your time. Wrap this interview up. Have a good day and have a blessed one.